wedding photography be really this easy? The 24-120 f4 for Nikon Z. It's a beautiful lens. Never really considered it for wedding photography until the guy that kind of got me into wedding photography and for sure got me making videos on the internet, Jerry Guiones, said,
but if you had to have one lens to cover the entire wedding, I think the most underrated lens is the 24-120 f4. Yes, it's not a fast lens, but that's the one that you want. If you could afford only one, that's the one.
This video is also sponsored by PicTime, and if you want to get my full preset pack for free, usually it's $89. If you want to buy it right now, it's $89. But if you sign up for a PicTime free trial, you don't have to put your credit card in or anything. You get access to that as well as a 2.5-hour wedding photography course, free for you. You don't got to pay. I'm bribing you because it's such a good platform and I want you to sign up. We're going to talk more about PicTime later in this video. So today I'll be using this as a main lens. I also have the 50-1.2 with me on my secondary camera body. Positives and negatives about the 24-120 f4 is probably the thing that you're clicked on this video being like, I'm gonna fight this. I got to shoot everything in f1.2, and I love the look of my lenses at 1.2 and 1.8 and 1.4. But I kind of feel like lenses for wedding photography, everything kind of comes in a balance. So what I'm losing aesthetically at 1.4, I'm gaining in versatility, and I'm gaining by the number of shots and the number of frames that I'm going to be able to capture that I normally wouldn't be able to. f4 also means that I might have to go a little bit up in ISO when it gets a little bit darker, but we're going to find out together. The upper limit of this camera, I feel like f4 is going to be fine. It is a summer day, so I'm going to have a little bit more daylight than I normally would. If this was a winter wedding and I was starting at 5 p.m. at sunset and all of this is after dark, this would not be the lens that I would choose. But today out here, sunny golf course, I'm excited to use it. Honestly, like in terms of ergonomics, that's real nice, right? It does extend as you get to the 120 end. But overall, like if this could be the only lens you bring to a wedding day, this would be amazing. This is all you need. Just show up. Hi, I'm here to be the wedding photographer. No flash, no anything. Be great. But as you know, in weddings, you don't really get put into the perfect situation every time. So you are going to need to bring other stuff, and you have to bring things like your own lighting in case you get into a scene and it's just not cooperating. It's not looking pleasant on your couple. You're gonna have to override it. Today I have the V100 by Godox with me, and I'm going to use it a little bit off camera and a little bit on camera. I used this a lot last week and I really love the results. I'm sure that this is somehow the effect of the wedding day that I spent with Jason Vincent. He uses off-camera flash in a very creative and unique way. You can watch his video after that one if you want. I go with Jason to a full behind-the-scenes wedding day in Mexico, and he does a lot of really crazy stuff with off-camera flash. I don't get as crazy as Jason. I use my off-camera flash to clean up light and to add better quality of light rather than using it as a creative element, although sometimes I will use it after dark if needed. But generally, I'm using off-camera flash to just increase the quality of light in a scene, make people look a little bit better. Buongiorno.
Hi, my man.
How's it going?
Good to see you, man.
Can I use you for a second?
Of course.
I'm going to use you as a stand-in.
Absolutely.
Because I want to know what the background of this
sounds great.
And just do it as though...
Slowly.
Yeah, nice and slow. All right, congratulations, welcome to your wedding day. Da, 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 da. It's the final countdown. Nice. Okay, there's my angle. I gotta be like right here. In terms of zoom usefulness, 24-120, absolutely you can, that's what you need for a wedding day. I would say typically I would be maybe a 35-85 prime combo, one camera 35, one camera 85, and then for the ceremony usually the Tamron 35-150, but this just kind of does all that, plus also gets wider too. 24mm. I do have a 24 prime in my bag this year, but I'm gonna say that I maybe use that prime for 10 or 15 shots, maybe the dance floor once it opens if it's a crazy dance floor. That's the only time I'm really using that prime lens, but I'm typically using that 24 prime stop down, so it's an f1.8s, but I shoot it usually maybe f5.6, f6.3 on the dance floor because I'm doing shots like this which are a little bit more direct flash. If the dance floor is way more calm and everybody's just slow dancing, I'm probably gonna be on 85 to make it look a little bit more interesting, but the crazier the party gets, the wider my lens tends to get. All the images you're seeing in the video have been edited by Imagen, which is automatic editing. It's spelt Imagen. And if you want my profile, so it's kind of like an elevated preset. It's exactly the way that I would edit. It's ingested, I think, about 20,000 images that I've edited in the past, and it just sees what I did in the past. And when it sees a new image, it looks roughly similar. It's going to edit it exactly as I did in the past, or roughly similar, and it just does an amazing job now. So if you are interested in getting my profile for free, usually it's $250, but it is free if you sign up for an Imagen trial subscription, and you get 1,500 free edits. So give it a try, see if it's for you. Play around with a few of the other profiles and see if something matches exactly what you want, if it's pre-built. If not, you can train it on your own edits and get it operating exactly as you would as an editor. Back to the lens. My internal debate of nice out of focus backgrounds versus versatility. In this specific instance, versatility definitely won. I've been using the 120 end of this lens a lot, and it's also a really nice venue and a wide photo, so I've also been using the 24 end as well. And typically, even if I have my 35-150, I'd still be shooting a second camera body with a wider prime to get those wide shots. And overall, I'm really happy with the image quality. I feel like it suits a wedding really well. When you think of an f4 lens, I think of something maybe like the 24-70 f4 kit lens for Nikon Z, which is a really, really nice lens, and it's great for landscapes. But in people photography, it tends to not render people as nicely and maybe as flattering as I would like them to be. With this lens here, I feel like it's doing just an incredible job, and I am really, really happy with it. And also at f4, at 120 millimeters, you do get a really nice shallow depth of field. This lens specifically at f4, it looks really, really nice. Every image you're gonna see from this entire wedding day is shot at f4.0. I didn't stop down at all, or if I do, I'll put a little note on the screen, maybe for family photos, we'll see. And as someone that loves that look, f1.2, I am pretty happy with the f4 image here. Again, everything's a little bit of a balance, and I'm going to come home with a lot of shots that I wouldn't have normally gotten. So where that line is for you, aesthetics versus documentary coverage, wherever that sits for you, that can be completely unique to you and your business. I am also shooting the 51.2, so I'm going to get lots of couples portraits with that lens because I love the look of it. But the versatility that the 24-120 gives me is an interesting addition to my wedding photography kit. Specifically when it comes to this 24-120, the sharpness, the image quality is incredible. It's the S line, which means it's special. I think that's actually what it stands for or stood for. The S line, they just put a little bit more effort into the lenses. The prime product line is a little bit confusing because now there's 1.4 non-S lenses, but the 1.8s are S lenses. So do some research if you are looking into the primes, but anything with this S logo on it, you are going to be very, very happy with. Let's talk about this lens usefulness throughout the day. Getting ready, as long as you're not in a really dark situation, This is a great option. You can get those wide shots, but also you can get those close-ups from across the room, and you don't got to run over there. The negative is that f4, you're going to see a little bit more background detail than you normally would. So if I was shooting everything at 1.4 on an 85mm lens, the backgrounds are all going to disappear. Anything that's messy, there's discarded food, plates, whatever, it's going to disappear into a very cinematic, nice blur. With f4, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful on what you include in the scene, as well as I would say, I'm sure you know, but basically if you're at 120mm, at f4, you're going to get a pretty shallow depth of field. But if you're at something like maybe 30mm and f4, you're going to get a lot more depth of field. So the more you zoom in at f4, the less depth of field you're going to get. And also that's subject distance too. So if your subject is really close to you, you're at f4, you're at 120, background's pretty much going to be gone. But if they're really far away, the depth of field is going to increase and there's just going to be a lot more in focus in the scene. Today, the camera body of choice, the Nikon Z5 II. I'm really happy that this exists. I think in terms of budget friendliness, I think that this is the camera for wedding photographers of this year. Does everything you need. The autofocus is incredible. The files are amazing. The only thing it lacks for me is if I do want to do 4K 60, if I'm doing a hybrid photo video day. Unfortunately, this doesn't do 4K 60 with no crop. So if I am doing a hybrid day, I'm still going to be going with my Z6 III as a main camera with this as a secondary. So I think the Z6 III is $400 more than the Z5 II. And with that $400, you get an LCD up top here, and that LCD just shows you some data. It's kind of nice to have. It also has a lock on this dial here, so this dial is in a different spot on the Z6 III, and there's a lock on it, which I do wish that they had on here because I have bumped it. At least when I put it in a bag, I ended up on user setting 3. So if you do have a Z5 II, make all your user settings and settings you could potentially bump your camera into, make them all raw, so you're not accidentally shooting JPEG in U3 on that top dial there. Fully articulating screen, which I use for most of the day. I would say today I'm probably not even going to look through the viewfinder at all. The screen on the Z5 II is really nice. The EVF is also a lot better, I guess, than the Z6 III. I unfortunately don't really use the EVFs at all anymore, or maybe that's not unfortunate. It's just my style of photography. I feel like I can get better documentary shots whenever I'm not just staring down the viewfinder. I also like that I can talk to my couples and be taking pictures while we're doing that, rather than be hiding behind a camera. My couples are a lot like me, so they're pretty introverted for the most part, and the less I can make it feel like we're out there taking pictures, the more comfortable they're going to be and the more natural to themselves. Now, I said I'd talk about pick time in this video. Thank you to Pick Time for sponsoring. And if you do want to get my full preset pack, usually $89, you can get it for free if you sign up for that Pick Time trial. And there's no credit card required. You're not going to get signed up to something that you're going to have to pay for. Make sure you like Pick Time. So I use Pick Time for my gallery delivery. It's, in my opinion, the most professional looking gallery. There's amazing features like the AI faces that go at the top of every gallery, that if you just want to search for this specific person, all of a sudden you have a full gallery just populated with them. You can also search for things. If you're looking for flowers, you can just type that in, or for vendors, it'll actually make custom galleries for vendors as well, or you can have them sign up on site or scan a QR code and enter their email so that whenever the gallery is available, they will get access to it. They also have to check a box saying that I will in fact tag the photographer whenever I post this, which is a really nice feature, and I'm happy that Pick Time included it. So that's all great. And if you're doing hybrid photo video coverage like I do at most weddings, you can also include video in your Pick Time gallery now. And not only all of that, but maybe the best feature is the automations. So if you are uploading a gallery, there's some checkboxes and pre-built automations that are just going to make you more money. They're going to sell print products. They're going to do time-sensitive offers. They're going to do anniversary sales. And the money that these automations are going to make you is going to cover the cost of Pick Time for your year. So that's pretty darn cool. Check them out. Get my free preset pack as well as my 2.5-hour wedding photography course if you're interested. That is free for you just for signing up for the trial. You don't have to go into a subscription or anything. Make sure it works for you. And if it's not the right time, a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever it is, sign up, because they are the best gallery system out there for us as wedding photographers. Can I have you guys, if you walk down here, I'm going to have you kind of walk in front of where the sun is on the barn. So just take a tour down there and then walk back on the grass, kind of where that... Getting into sunset photos and backlit photos, this lens does a really good job of handling backlight. As you can see my GoPro there, it's got that big anamorphic almost streak through it, and this lens handles it pretty much as well as the 51-2, to be honest. Like, obviously there's a little more depth of field, you can see a little bit more detail in the background, but overall it does a really nice job. Now, we move into the part of the night where I am not going to recommend this lens. It is possible to use. Also, we saw a deer. It is possible to use this lens in this environment, but this is when it flipped from using the lens maybe 80% of the day and my other camera 20% to using my other camera 80% and this lens 20. I did a few photos, a few wide shots with the off-camera flash setup, and then I moved my transmitter to my other camera, and I took what I would consider to be the more professional images of this time of the night. So yeah, it's not going to save you all day, but that is an example of what you can do just with one light in pretty much the darkness. There's a little bit of ambient out back, but it's different color, and you can get by. I feel like I absolutely needed to make it work. I could have, but it is not the right tool for this part of the day, I don't believe. That said, the autofocus did quite good, like better than I would have expected from an f4 lens on this Nikon Z5 too. And just a final shout out to the image quality of this lens. Even in those really super high contrast points, the image just stays together really well. And there it is, 24-120 f4 for Nikon. So happy with this lens, really enjoyed my experience with it today. And if you do want to watch that video, that full-length video with Jason, it's on the screen right here. And don't forget, get my free preset pack. It's not my free, it's my actual real full preset pack, but it's free to you instead of $89 if you do sign up for that pick time trial. So get in on the link down below. See you again next time.